All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are talking about a technology that is completely reshaping the creative world as we speak, generative AI. Now, we're not going to get lost in all the technical stuff. Instead, we're going to explore it for what it really is, an unbelievably powerful new partner for creatives, your copilot. So let's just start with a simple question. Seriously, what if, for your next project, you could tap into a limitless well of ideas? I mean, every possible headline, every single visual concept, every starting point you could ever need, just there, in an instant. That's the promise we're going to explore today. You know, the hype around AI is absolutely everywhere, but let's just cut through the noise for a second. In this first part, we're going to break down why this specific technology is so critical for creatives and why this revolution is happening right this very minute. I want you to think about the major shifts that have totally defined creative work. Things like the invention of Photoshop, the rise of digital video, the internet itself. Well, generative AI is the next giant leap on that scale. And I'm not kidding. This isn't just some new tool. It fundamentally changes the entire process of how we create, from that very first spark of an idea all the way to the final product. And look, this whole revolution isn't happening in a vacuum. It's showing up as a direct answer to the very real pressures that pretty much every single creative agency is feeling right now. We all know it. Deadlines are getting shorter, budgets are shrinking, and the demand for more content across more platforms is just exploding. This technology gets right to the core challenge of doing more with less, and it might just be our best defense against creative burnout. Okay, so we get why this matters, but to really understand how it can solve these problems, we need to get crystal clear on what it actually is. So let's strip away the jargon and break it all down, from complex to clear. So, the most important word on this slide, the one that changes everything, is that one right there, creates. For years, AI has been about analyzing things, sorting data, and understanding stuff that already exists. Generative AI is a whole different ballgame. It takes everything it's learned and produces something brand new, something that literally did not exist a moment before you asked for it. Here's the difference in a nutshell. The AI you're probably used to, like a photo app that recognizes your friend's face, that's analytical AI. It can recognize a cat. Generative AI, on the other hand, can create a totally new image of a cat in the style of Van Gogh riding a skateboard on the moon. See the difference? One understands what is, the other invents what could be. And this all happens through a surprisingly simple three-step process. First, the AI learns. It basically studies a massive library of human creativity, all the text on the internet, millions of images, entire genres of art. Then it starts to understand the deep patterns, the styles, the structures within all that data. And finally, and this is the most important part, you give it a prompt. That's your creative direction. And based on that, it generates something totally new from everything it's learned. All right, that's the theory. Now for the really fun part. Let's see how this new copilot actually shows up for work in your studio, with practical, real-world tools you can start using today. So, where's it making the biggest waves in agencies right now? Well, it's probably no surprise that copywriting and image generation are leading the charge. But just look at that spread. It's already being used for everything from high-level brainstorming to super detailed storyboarding. This thing isn't a one-trick pony, it's more like an entire creative suite. Let's make this real. Imagine you're stuck on a tagline. Instead of staring at a blank page, you can just feed a prompt to the AI like, write 10 witty headlines for a new coffee brand that targets young professionals. And boom, in seconds, you've got 10 solid starting points to edit, combine, and make your own. The blank page is gone. And for designers? Oh, this is a total game changer for mood boarding and early concepts. Instead of spending hours sketching, you can just prompt the AI with something like minimalist logo for a sustainable tech company using green and gray, and then explore hundreds of different visual directions in the time it takes to brew a cup of coffee. And for anyone in video or film, this is just incredible. The whole pre-production process can be sped up like crazy. You can describe a shot, cinematic wide shot of a lone astronaut looking at Earth from a spaceship window, and get a visual for it almost instantly. It completely transforms how fast you can bring a script to life. So, after seeing all that, the big question is still hanging in the air, right? Where does this leave us, the human creatives? And that brings us to the most important point of this whole thing. This is not about being replaced. It's about collaboration. I really want you to let this one sink in because this is the single most important takeaway today. The technology is just a force multiplier. The creative professional who learns how to write amazing prompts, who learns how to art direct the AI, and who knows how to use its output as a jumping off point for their own unique genius, that is the person who is going to have an unbelievable advantage. And really, that's what this all comes down to. You now have a co-pilot that can navigate to any creative destination you can possibly imagine. It has the map, it's got the fuel, but you are still the one at the controls. You provide the vision, the taste, the destination. So the only question left is, where do you want to go?